Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good, Mully. How are you? And David, I hope all is going well.
Going well, Steve.
It's so much fun to watch the White Sox these days, and you never know who they're going to bring up. And yesterday was the Rico Nishida game. He was fantastic, just a real energy, a bundle of energy, a guy that we weren't expecting necessarily. There are other players that we thought would be promoted before him, but he came up and he was wearing good old number 51, and the whole vibe you got from the crowd, the putouts, six or seven total, the throw home. I mean, I didn't even know he could do that. He threw out of his shoe. It was the infield single. It was just a really fun thing, kind of topped off by just beating the Twins, which you love seeing too.
Well, certainly, you look at where the Sox are, 3.5 games out. They have a 1.5 lead over the Twins. I thought it was a pretty big game yesterday, only because we see the Twins so much. Entering the game yesterday, we're going to see them 7 times in 10 days. So you have to establish the fact that you can handle them. The Sox have played very well at home. And I think when they looked at the skill set Nishida brings to the party, they realized that knowing that Hayes and probably maybe one other, maybe 2 others, Pereira maybe, will come back, they didn't want to bring up, if you're talking about Braden Montgomery, they didn't want to bring him up, not play him, or have to send him back down quickly. So the situation with Nishida was this. You bring up a guy who's excellent defensively. He is a lifetime second baseman. I think we are filling our roster entirely with second basemen. Then we move him to various positions. And then he gives you that spark that you were looking for. And you saw it yesterday. I mean, he kept catching everything in right field. And the ball that he actually missed, the dive he made, most right fielders don't get to it anyway. So he's a spark on this team. I know he's going to be able to steal bases, assuming that he's going to get on and on occasion, maybe draw a walk, hit here or there. He's going to be a prolific base stealer, and I think that's one of the things, especially late in the game, that you look for. And the way Will set him up yesterday, Nishida was 9, Antonacci was 1, so you've got 2 table setters in a row right in front of Murakami, Vargas, and Montgomery. I think for an offensive output, usually that's going to get the job done.
So, Steve, Eric Fetty has had a tough month of May. There are reports that David Sandlin is on the way to Chicago, possibly to start Thursday. What do you know about Sandlin as a prospect that he could contribute at the big league level, and how would you describe the overall state of starting pitching for the Sox?
Well, I think starting pitching certainly is a concern, but one of the real joys of the Sox has been Anthony Kay. I mean, you look at the month of May, and he's got right around a 2-point ERA. He's been pretty dominant in most of his starts. He just threw the ball very well yesterday. He's having a shaky first and sometimes a second inning. But in the second inning was, I think, the defining play of the game. And that was, and Mully, you alluded to this, the throw by Nishida to get the final out at the plate. Because if that changes, there's going to be a completely different scenario for that game. There was 3 hits in the second inning, and they tried to score Arcia at that point. And that throw, and credit Romo, by the way. Romo had quite a day with a couple of home runs and that catch of a tough ball to handle at the plate. But as far as Sandlin is concerned, I've heard for a little bit now, maybe about a week and a half, that he was ready to go. And with Eric Fetty, unfortunately, it hasn't been his month. He's really struggled this month. And the Sox are finding themselves in a position that I don't think in their heart of hearts either Chris Getz or Will would have said they're going to be 3.5 games back and it's going to be the end of May. I think that was something that's a bit of a pleasant surprise, but with the laydown of this culture and the way the team is playing, the way the team is hustling, the way they go out there every day and just look intense, this is a different White Sox team, and they're wildly entertaining.
It is unbelievable how entertaining they are and the power of this group. Obviously, Mooney and his ability has stood out overall, but Colson Montgomery has hit home runs. Vargas has hit home runs. It feels like they can suddenly beat you in a couple of different ways, and that is a fun thing to witness.
I think the front office, which, by the way, is top to bottom very talented, thought about the ballpark they play in and realized this is a power-hitting ballpark, always has been, especially as the weather gets warmer. In the last few years, when the boys were losing a whole lot of games, especially at home, it was a disadvantage because everybody came in with more power than they had. So they went out to assemble a team that could hit the ball out of the ballpark in a home run hitter's park, and that's exactly what happened. And I look at Vargas. He's got 12 home runs. He could have easily had one, possibly two yesterday, if not for the wind blowing in. But on a regular day where it's warm, this team has a whole lot of power. To add to the power, you have to have table setters, and that's what Antonacci is doing up here now. And as long as Nishida stays, he's going to be one of those guys. The big surprise is the power of Romo, by the way. He doesn't seem to hit singles anymore. He either hits the ball out of the park or hits doubles, which is pretty amazing. But the catch he made of that throw yesterday and the fact that he hit the two-run homer that provided the margin of victory is something to really enjoy because he wasn't on the radar screen when this season started.
Steve, when you talk about Mully Murakami and his impact overall on the White Sox lineup, how do you describe it to people in terms of his impact? Because I think that he now leads the American League in home runs. That's going to go back and forth all season long. And yet when you talk about the White Sox and why they are where they are as we hit the Memorial Day milepost for the baseball season, the biggest reason and every explanation seems to start with him.
Well, there's another factor, and I'll take you back to a manager who's no longer managing, but you might remember Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter was with Baltimore, and they acquired Adam Jones in a 5-for-1 deal with Seattle. And he brought Adam Jones in, and he said to him, look, you're going to be the star of this team. Maybe not today, but certainly you're going to be the star of this team. And as the star of this team, what I need from you is hustle every day. Because as the star, if you hustle, it's going to radiate down through the rest of the ball club. And that's one of the things that Murakami does. He is one of the stars of this team, if not the biggest star of the team, as illustrated by 63% of all the merchandise the White Sox are selling is Murakami related. But I think looking at him on a daily basis and realizing he's going to run as hard as he can to first base each and every time. And if your star is running hard, you look at some of the other guys and younger guys in this lineup, and they point to him and say, well, if he's doing that, I certainly have to do that. And then each and every guy in the team buys into that, which is what happens. So Murakami has an influence on this team far and away beyond what he produces offensively, which, by the way, is pretty good. You're talking about the American League leader in home runs. He's probably going to drive in 112, maybe 115 runs. Who knows, maybe more, depending on guys get ahead of him. But he's one of the guys that everybody looks to and sees how he's playing on a daily basis. And I think you're seeing a team that hustles from top to bottom.
Steve, the starting rotation, when you think about it and look at it, Davis Martin is having an all-star season. He has been fantastic since really day one. I know he allowed 3 runs in that first outing, and he kind of shut it down since. He's been outstanding. Sean Burke has done fine. He's been good. Anthony Kay yesterday had a good outing. And it was fun to see. We look at this group, and we were talking earlier in the year, and they told us that part of the idea was to not invest too much in it because the idea is you're going to be bringing up people and you're going to be improving. We've seen Tanner McDougal got hurt, but Hagen Smith is still there and hopefully on the way, although they're still trying to figure out how to work on his control and stretch him out a little longer. How good can this group get, and how different will it be by the end of the year?
I wish I could tell you what it's going to look like at the end of the year. I can just tell you now they probably would like to get another dependable starter, and where he comes from, it doesn't really matter. We'll see if it's Sandlin, when it'll be Sandlin. But at this point, I think Burke has thrown pretty well. He's going today in what should be an important outing for him and for the ball club. And I think overall, when you look at his numbers, including the whip, you say, he's done a pretty decent job, especially when he gets a curveball over the plate. As far as Davis Martin is concerned, he has been their stopper from the time he started this year till now. I think he has 5 of his wins after a Sox loss, and that's the stopper on your team. That's the guy you want to send out there because
Right.
you don't get long losing streaks if you have that kind of guy. So K's emergence has been great. I mean, 6 innings yesterday, just a run on 5 hits. He only walked 1, which is why he kept everything as close to the vest as he was, giving up just a 1 run. And then the bullpen came on and did quite a job. So the starting rotation right now needs probably 1 more, you would expect. As they go down the road, I think you're right about Hagen Smith. He's going to be a major league pitcher. I think they will work out the location problems because when you look at his stuff, it's really nasty. I mean, you can't have that kind of career at Arkansas in a major conference without having overwhelming stuff. That's one of the reasons why he was the Sox first-round draft pick. As far as McDougal is concerned, he's got like a Grant Taylor-type arm. Maybe he might even throw a little bit harder. But he'll come back. He's not seriously injured. He's going to come back. And then, the real luxury of baseball is having a glut of starting pitching, having too many starters. If you get to that point, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. Right now they could use 1 more. And depending on what happens with these young guys still in the minor leagues, they're going to bring them up. And they're going to bring them up, you would think, in the not-too-distant future. I am excited about that, but particularly excited about Braden Montgomery to get a look at him finally because, look, he's answered the questions at every level he's been. He's in AAA right now. The next step is the major leagues. He's killing the ball in AAA, so eventually he's going to get here, and then you'll have another 40-man roster problem.
Steve, we've got about a minute left, but relative to your expectations to start the season, what has been the biggest surprise of this White Sox start?
I think the fact that they consistently hit the ball out of the ballpark. I mean, you're looking at one of the most powerful teams in baseball. I told all my friends and people who cared to ask about how the Sox are going to do that they would be much improved this year. The question is, always, will you be much improved for the entire season, which generally puts you into the playoffs if you're looking at where they're standing right now. I'm not sure how many people truly believe that, but as this team has come together, and I can't give the front office and the management, the manager and the coaches enough credit, they have instilled a confidence in this team, and everybody says what comes first, confidence or winning? Well, winning over the last 3 years wasn't there. So you had to instill the confidence first, the culture, the ethic, the hustle every day type of attitude. And right now, I think the sky is the limit. I think this team can get it done. They're going to need a little help. I think a lot of teams are saying the same thing, but there's another wave of talent coming, and it's going to be here in the not too distant future.